Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Spill the Teaquila here on Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. Very excited to be going live here. I am John Rocha, joined as always by the king of swag himself for this show, Winston A. Marshall. How are you, Winston?
Man, what a last couple of days.
Oh, really?
It's been good stuff. Oh, why is this not?
Oh, good stuff.
There we go. Yeah. No, it's been good. I can at least tell the basics right now. So, I what I couldn't say previously, and I can only say the basics as I was. Yeah, I'm tired. I maybe need some caffeine, not just some water. I booked a feature film, man. I booked a feature that has already started filming. The irony. Oh, you got a soundboard now?
Oh, yeah.
Look at you.
Come on, you got to do it right,
sir.
That's nice.
I booked a feature film, and it's a horror film of all things, which is hilarious because those that know, I hate horror everything. There is such a level of like, God damn it, including the shoot yesterday, a moment with me getting so scared.
Wow.
And like the what was really funny about it was the idea that like I was just kind of phoning in the terror. I'm very good at feigning terror, all that kind of stuff. But then when we actually got a shot of like an angle of like my face being petrified, we had the monster, like the actor for it. I had him go hide in the dark and then actually pop out at me. When I tell you I almost pissed myself in the middle of a take. It was so bad, bro. It was so bad. It was so bad. That's awesome. But I gotta say, man, it has been an absolute just dream to do this whole thing, man. It's been so crazy. It's been great to get back on set and like, I can't describe the feeling. Then it's dream job shit, and I've done plenty of acting in my life, but like I'm finally here at like a feature like this. So this is super cool, man. So yeah, I'm doing good. My sleep schedule is fucked. Like I'm off. I have one more shoot day this week, and then I'm off for a couple of weeks, and then I have a bunch of days of night shoots.
Oh, wow.
Which will royally F up my sleeping schedule, and I'm not looking forward to that. But you make sacrifices. So
wow. Oh, I mean, look, these are the prices and the exchanges rather you have to make in life, right? Once you book something really big, and then you've got to see how it works and work around it and all of that stuff. So that's the life of the creative, is like, I want this. And once you get some semblance of it, it's like, oh, how am I going to make this work? So it's always all of that. But look, it's a good thing to have. So congratulations, man. Honestly.
Thank you, man. And then all I'm waiting for is for this to blow up, and then I can be in Sinners 2, bro. I'm gonna be part of that Sinners cinematic universe. That's what I'm trying to do.
I like this idea. I think we can make that happen. I mean, this is a good idea you're putting on the table. Because at this rate, the way things are going, there is a possibility that there could be a Sinners 2. For God's sakes. And we're going to get into all of that here on Spill the Teaquila. We're going to get into Sinners' second week of box office. We're definitely going to talk about the Shedeur Sanders NFL draft situation. That was a big conversation piece over the last few days. We're also going to jump into some stuff going on with Bill Belichick. We're going to stuff about Saquon Barkley and Trump. Speaking of Trump, we might touch on 100 days because he's currently now stumping in Michigan, doing a speech right now where he is just full on lying about everything that he's done over the last 100 days, which is hilarious, and other stuff about. Plus, we'll talk about this insane conversation that's happening social media between 100 men versus a gorilla. Who would win? And it's become a thing that a lot of people are talking about here, Winston. And I'm going to be real curious to hear what you think about it. But
I just Yeah, no, we'll definitely talk about it. I'm just like, you've got to be shitting me. How do we get, my question is, how do we keep ending up here? That's the part that I want to know, is how do we end up in these stupid, I love fun hypotheticals, but these stupid ass conversations, like, no, 100 dudes are going to take on a we'll talk about it.
We will talk about it. But your director sent me the sound of your scream on about right. That sounds about what was going on.
It's way more ridiculous than that. I'll tell you that much, bro. Like, I was saying obscenities I didn't know I knew.
I love it. Straight from the set. I love it. But yeah, we're going to get into all of that. And just a reminder, Streamlabs and Superchats are open. You see the Streamlabs right above Winston's head. The address is there, but also Superchats. Send them in, send in your love as we go along here, because we are here every week now, Tuesday at 4 p.m. PT Live. That is the schedule. So we love that you're joining us. Almost 100 of you joining us right off the bat. So thank you so much right from the beginning, and send in your love and support as we go along. But Winston, as you kind of teased, let's segue into it here with Sinners is blowing up yet again at the box office in its second weekend. You know, it's at 98%, still with the critics, 97% still with the audience, which is pretty amazing. It's topped 2 box office weekends in a row here, and it is currently it has grossed $163 million worldwide. Of course, it's been 2 days since the weekend, so I'm sure that number has gone up. $123 million domestically, 39.8 million internationally. It had a budget of 90 million, and people are saying about 225 is the breaking point when it starts to make some money. But this is this 48 million that it got on opening weekend was the most successful debut weekend of any original film. And usually films don't drop 6%. And this film has dropped only 6%. Only 30 other movies have either gained or lost less than 6% in the entire history of movies ever, with only one of them being a horror film. So there's so many things to praise and talk about in the accomplishment of this movie, Winston. And we know we're about to have Thunderbolts opening this weekend, but like Sinners is still very much the talk of the town. And this is probably going to be going on for quite some time. What are your reactions to how well it's still doing, and how the pop culture is responding to this movie, and what the movie has to say?
I mean, I think that there is something to be said about how I really hope that Hollywood is paying attention. I think there has been this disgusting, and I've talked about this a lot, there's been this disgusting push from not even the powers that be, but the purse that is kind of dictating how these studios and things like that move. And you're talking about people from Wall Street, you're talking about people from the tech from Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of this money is pouring in, and they treat it like a stock investment or an angel investor and shit like that. Here, take $500,000, go get me $1 billion to $2 billion.
Yeah.
Like, figure it out. Yeah. And because getting into movies is good business. If you need proof of that, look at what Apple decided to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They were very successful and didn't even necessarily need to diversify like that. And yet they decided, hey, the media thing was already good for us with like Apple Music. Why don't we dip even further and take it to movies and TV and hence Apple TV Plus? And they've already won an Oscar and they've won multiple Emmys. Like, so I say all that to say that this is proof that you can work with low, moderate to like slightly above moderate budgets.
Yeah.
And focus on the stories.
Yes.
Focus on the characters and stuff that takes over pop culture. The way you take over pop culture is by being genuine and then having something exciting to watch. And so focus on telling excellent stories and it will pay out dividends.
Yeah.
Even to the fact that I think the thing that I like the most is the fact that there was a lot of hate about, there was no need for Variety. It was Variety that did it, right? To put out that article talking about, it did this well, but asterisk, so it's gonna blah, blah, blah. Or to comment Ryan Coogler over his deal that he signed, which also, it's not the first time this has happened.
Right. He's the
if this
fifth
had been
record. Yeah.
right, if this had been a completely unprecedented deal,
Yeah.
and you want to be like, wow, I can't believe Ryan has said it himself. He's like, I didn't come up with this on my own.
Right.
I went and saw how some of the other greats did it. I believed in my product, and that's why I asked for that. That's why I negotiated for that, and they agreed and understood based off of like, I bet if you're really in it, and my track record shows it. So like, I think that's the only bad thing that I will say about Sinners has nothing to do actually with the movie itself. It has to do with people up to their bullshit and trying to take some shine off of this movie that has been literally what you want out of your media. You take over the narrative, and to do that in a social media age where things are as popular as long as they trend, which tend to trend no longer than 12 hours, and we move. You know, that is huge.
Sinners passed the $150 million milestone this year. It's only the fourth Hollywood movie to do so in 2025, and we're almost halfway through the year. We're about to enter into the fifth month of the year, and we'll probably be seeing quite a few movies past that mark. But to do it in the first half of the year, I think is an incredible achievement for Ryan Coogler. And I agree with you, man. I don't have the Black experience. I did not grow up Black. I am not Black, but I can't imagine what it's like that every time Black people accomplish something in this country, in this world, it's like, well, here's the qualifiers. Tarantino shits in a plate. Nobody says a damn thing. But if a Black man does really well with a movie about Blackness and Black ownership and how white society, white culture can suck the blood out of Black culture to use for themselves, then it becomes a whole thing of, we got to qualify this, man. We got to qualify this. We can't let the Blacks start feeling like they have any kind of influence on our society. It's phenomenally frustrating to see it happen from the outside. As a Latino from the outside, I can't imagine what it's like within the Black culture. And even when sometimes Black people turn on Black people about Black accomplishments, it must be a colossal like F you in the mind. It's mind blowing to me. This should be celebrated by all. And I love that Tom Cruise took a picture of himself. Tom, cut the hair, please, for the love of God. Make sure it's older. Tom giving love to Ryan and giving a shout out on his massive platform. That's what they should all be doing, is elevating it. I love how many people came out and pushed back on that Variety article of all genders and all colors. It's so important. But yeah, Sinners is just going to keep going, man, just battering ram, because people do organically love this movie, Winston.
Because it is so good. And it reminds me of Get Out, in that not just that it's a Black director doing a Black horror film, but specifically because horror in a lot of ways, and this is the only reason I wish I appreciated it more. In so many ways, horror does a better job of having serious conversations about things, and most of the time that's because serious conversations tend to be scary. You know what I mean? There is some barrier behind it. And so it allows you to dive deep. So like Get Out, you were able to talk about interracial relationships. You were able to talk about how Blacks affect culture. So that whole thing about the bodies, the creativity, the blah blah blah, and like all of that. You were able to dive into all of that. The dynamics of what it means to get older, the idea of like kind of being lost, coming up with something like The Sunken Place and that whole thing. You get the same thing here with Sinners. So the idea, interracial relationships, about, the idea of freedom, of Black culture, and whether or not how it affects American culture and things like that. So I think what was so brilliant is the fact, and if you look at a lot of other major horror films that have popped off, like Smile, for example, is a fantastic movie about mental health. And really how when we feel like we're losing a grip of ourselves, how that can affect those around us. And they did it through the guise of like a demon, but we say all the time with people with like addiction, you've got a demon haunting you. You know what I mean? So it's that is, I think, what was so just smart here is the fact that Ryan really discussed a lot of different things throughout this film. And that's why people keep going back, because it's beautiful, because it sounds incredible, because the acting is super on point, a lot of great choices that were made, the writing is tight, but because there is something every day. I see a new post breaking down this character making this decision and why I hate them or why I love them, or this theme that was put in one way or the other, or whatever. And so I think that is where you're going to strike gold. Stop trying to worry about making $1 billion and worry about making good art and empowering your artists to make good art, and you will get that billion. Just be patient.
It's true. And in some roundabout way, it kind of validates everything on everybody's side, right? Whether you buy the arguments or the criticism and the honesty of the arguments and the criticism, right? The pushback on DEI is, well, I just want the best actor for the role and I just want good movies. Well, here's a good movie told from the Black point of view, very predominantly a Black movie, and look how it's doing in the box office. So in a way, you're like, this is great. On one side, that we're getting a Black movie by a Black director telling a Black story and story about the culture through generations, both past and present and future. And on the other side, the people who are crying about, well, you just want a good movie. Well, yes, okay, there you go. So the fact that it's doing well and appeasing all sides, I think, is a really fantastic thing. And it speaks volumes to film goers who will respond to films that have something within them that just naturally feels like it's something more, and you want to go see it and you want to experience it more than once, Winston. I talked to, or someone texted me the other day or commented on one of my shows, they've seen it 4 times. 4 times.
I haven't had the time. I'm going again tomorrow, so I can see it in 70. I really wanted to see it in 70 millimeter. I'll most likely after this, if I find the time, I will go a third. But I really just wanted to see it in 70 and then can call it a day, because Thunderbolts is coming up, so that's going to be a whole thing. Like, I gotta essentially go tomorrow to Sinners, and then I need to figure out how to, because I was on set yesterday, I got to figure out how to get to Thunderbolts early on Thursday before I'm back on set. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's I wish I could be that person that's like, take all of my money, especially, with AMC A-List. You can have all 3 of my tickets, bro. I don't give a fuck. Take them.
That's true.
Take them.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, I may make the trip up to Irvine myself, possibly, to see it tomorrow, because I know Thunderbolts comes in to take the IMAX screens a lot of places. But continued success with Sinners. We'll see what happens in the third weekend. We'll see what the reaction to it by the people who were involved with Sinners is after the third weekend. And if maybe, I can't imagine there would be a sequel, but who knows? Who knows?
I hope they don't. I genuinely hope they don't. And it's not because I didn't think it was good. I think there is something about it that would cheapen it just a little bit. This isn't the type of movie that feels like
a franchise type of thing.
The only thing that I would want, honestly, I would want a prequel spinoff about the Native American, the Native Indigenous people vampire hunters. That actually would be fire as fuck, because they came in just enough to tease and be like, hey, yo, look here, Miss White Lady, that white dude's dangerous. You should get off my property. All right, bitch, we tried. And they rode off in the sunset. I was like, I would love to know more about them. This was a whole posse of Native vampire hunters. That would be a sick fucking movie, and I would be here for it all day. But other than that, I don't need to dive more into these characters. I don't need this. Like, you gave us a beautiful, tight story. Let's leave it where it's at, and those post credits were just for us to have a little bit of closure, a little bit of extra, and not to set something else up.
Great point. Great point you make, Winston, for sure. Well, let's leave the world of Sinners. Let's walk into the world of sports. Let's deal with this big story, man. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, this has been blowing up over the last few days, and because of the NFL draft that happened last Thursday, Shedeur Sanders, who a lot of people thought coming out of Colorado was going to be a first round or second round choice at the latest, ended up going at pick 144 in the 5th round. And a lot of excuses have come out on why this is. He went to the Cleveland Browns, who have 5 quarterbacks right now: Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett. 4. Well, no, 5 actually, with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, and Shedeur Sanders being a part of this. And this is also a draft that had a number one quarterback, a number one pick who was a black quarterback in Cam Ward. You had Travis Hunter, who came out, who was traded up for by the Jags to go get, and he's an outspoken, flamboyant player. So there were a lot of conversations that sparked over the last few days from people about what happened at the NFL draft. Stephen A. Smith has weighed in. Steven Jackson's weighed in. Unk has weighed in. Shannon Sharp earlier. A lot of people.
Is he still working right now? I thought he was just gonna go hide for a while.
I think he's still got fingers in a social media account, but I don't know if he's on camera. But then Mel Kiper lost his mind for 3 days about the whole situation. But then other people have pushed back on this. So where are you now on all of this? And what was your reaction as this was all happening, Winston?
I mean, I don't actually want to fully make this comparison.
Okay.
However, there's this weird thing where it's not weird. I take it back. We need to be able to have more than one thought at the same time.
Yes.
I think that they're very much, it sounds like Shedeur screwed up. It sounds like that some of the things he said in his interviews, and I'm not saying you can't be confident, but like some of the reports, whether or not this is true or not, and whether or not this is some Nico Harrison level bullshit of he's fat. Some of the reports are that like in the interviews, he'd be saying stuff like, they'd give him a critique on some film of him and how, you took too many sacks or you did this or the other. And his reply being like, well, if you don't like the way I play quarterback, then clearly I'm not the quarterback for you. Oof. And it's, while like the funny thing is, on the one hand, I appreciate some of that confidence, but that comes off as this is a job interview.
Yeah.
And so there is a certain level that we all know, and nobody's saying that you have to code switch per se, but there is a certain level of like putting a lid on it. And it doesn't mean that, again, you still can't be confident. Right. But like, let's be real. I don't care how great your dad has been training you. I don't care what you've kind of accomplished. I'll tell you right now, if you played one-on-one against, even a retired Tom Brady this many years out, you get smoked. If you played against Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and you're going that back and forth, let's say he gets the Cleveland starting job right now, I guarantee you he is not even remotely close to the level of like the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. So that being said, there needs to be a little bit of humility to understand there is always room for growth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a level. So if there is like you should do this thing because of whatever. If he's able to confidently and intellectually be like, you know what, actually, coach, I wouldn't actually do that for these reasons, but I would love to know more about what you think, because I think this is the path forward. How would you handle it in this way? That's the type of thing where there is a confidence there. You're like, no, this is my style of play, but please teach me something. They need to be able to know they can work with you. I don't walk in with it like, funny thing, I had a conversation with this director before I signed on. There was like one sequence I honestly I wasn't sure about. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this thing. So I sent it to the producer and I said, can I talk to him? I would like to discuss this particular scene. And this is what I would want to do. And he got back to me through her and was like, yeah, he wrote it that way. He wants it this way. It's not going to change. It is what it is. But then we had to sit down and I expressed, these are my reasons that I feel XYZ about this.
Right.
And why I need to feel X amount of comfort and whatever. And he goes, okay. And then he gave his kind of counter argument. I ultimately conceded to what he wanted because now I understood his vision behind it.
Where it was
but I also, but I made it very clear what I'm not going to do is just bend at your will. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am old enough and far enough in my career and wise enough to know there are things that I won't do, or if there's something up, you will know that I will speak my mind. Right. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm not going to be dismissive of what you're talking about. And two things can be true at the same time. You can be confident and know what you're talking about, but also take some humility and take a step back. And if that's the only thing, I know it's very long-winded.
No, you're making all kinds of good points. Go ahead, keep going.
I appreciate it. So this was the second point I was going to make.
Okay.
Is that while Shedeur may have shot himself in the foot, it very much looks like the same NFL that sandbagged Colin Kaepernick just did this to Shedeur to send a message to Shedeur, to send a message to Dion. Like, it's very, the way this went down, there is no coaches that should have been leaking to the media about how bad his meetings were.
Yeah.
That was a kind of effed up move to do. And then for them to collectively keep passing over him and picking quarterbacks that honestly are objectively not as good as him.
Yeah. 5 other quarterbacks were taken before he was taken. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's this level of like, how is it that even if Shedeur really isn't, like, the tape made him look a little bit worse, or his combine numbers made him look a little bit worse, or these interviews made him look worse, you put a campaign out to smear this young man's name just because he happens to, you know, be related to one of the greatest football players of all time, and had the confidence to kind of back it, even if he's a dick and all this other stuff. Keep that shit to yourself. Stop smearing a child's, like, yes, he's an adult, but you know what I'm saying? He's what, 21?
Yeah.
You're going around smearing a 21-year-old's name. Just don't draft. Like, if he had just fallen and nothing had come out about stuff like that,
right,
I think we would have seen this a little bit differently. But this is where now you get the duality of, like, it does feel like a smear bullshit collusion campaign to do this, and that I don't like.
There has always been that stink around the NFL of, like, when the owners get together, as we saw with Colin Kaepernick and other places, like, there's no evidence that they colluded, yet it's very clear that they have. Now, I am on the side of, I think Shedeur wasn't as talented as he thought he was.
Sure.
But we've seen the numbers of the quarterbacks that have gotten taken in previous years' drafts that are way less, that our numbers are way less than Shedeur Sanders' numbers. So you do have to go to this question of, like, what happened here? What was the issues here? And certainly, I think if he had the talent to, because people brought up Eli Manning, people brought up John Elway, but, you know, in those situations, both of those guys were seen as franchise-changing quarterbacks. Shedeur didn't quite have that, other than Dion and Shedeur himself promoting that idea. It wasn't a lot of analysts, as well, a lot of NFL insider NFL people saying that. That being said, what you said earlier is an interesting point to consider, because I look at this quote here from, where is it? From one of the analysts at CBS. This is clearly a way for the NFL and its teams. This is Jonathan Jones, an NFL analyst on CBS. He said, this is clearly a way for the NFL and its teams to let him and anyone else after him know you can't comport yourself in this way moving forward. And he's implying the fact that Shedeur was very cocky. Shedeur didn't prepare. Brian Daboll said he didn't prepare, like he seemed unprepared in our interviews. There were all these stories coming out about his behavior. And then even the fact that Dion was his agent, he didn't have an agent that could maybe massage the process. And Shedeur didn't want to throw at any of the combines, didn't want to show up for anything, thinking that he had already kind of won the job, and going down there to play and throw would have made him look at lesser than, when in fact those are the quarterbacks that got taken ahead of him because they threw. So I think there were a lot of missteps here, but that doesn't mean, as you said, two ideas can be at once. It doesn't mean that there wasn't some sort of racist collusion by the majority white NFL owners to teach a brash young black kid who they don't think is as talented as he thinks he is, to teach him his place. That's very much a possibility, Winston.
And to that point, it reminds me of how you watch some people parent, and I'm not saying that they're like sunning him or nothing like that, but you watch, like, just as a comparison, because of the power dynamic. You could also take it outside of that kind of relationship and look at, like, say, cops and civilians, whatever the fuck you want. But let's use the parent dynamic. The kid is a kid and is gonna do dumb shit. As the parent, you're supposed to be the mature one. You're supposed to be the one that has, you know, the wisdom, and you have all the power to not just beat the hell out of your kid or to cuss them out or to get to their level and do dumb shit. You were supposed to be the one that's like, all right, so in this case, don't go start some gossip mill and with the kikiing with the reporters. Oh yeah, you know, he came in here and he didn't want to do none of the interview questions. He didn't do none of that shit. Now, if those are open interviews that we can all see with our own eyes and that's what comes out of his mouth, sure. But this was behind closed doors between you and this kid. and you're going to go run your mouth to the media about it, that is where, again, I
think that's fair. Yeah.
That is bullshit. And they've been doing this for weeks. And I remember mentioning that, where I was like, why are we talking about him this way, one way or the other? Just let the shit speak for itself. Because the other thing on the flip side of that, y'all motherfuckers didn't say none of that about Johnny Manziel, who was an actual burnout.
Yeah.
You know what all of that shit happened. And you weren't leaking none of that. None of that came out until we got to the documentaries that came out the last couple of years.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah.
I just that was genuinely disgusting to me.
Yeah.
It's one thing for someone to be overvalued as far as their athletic prowess and they get drafted at a lower position. It's another thing to run a smear campaign while doing this.
Yeah.
That is your act. That is very churlish. As some of my very black ass aunties and uncles will say, very churlish. So that is where and then on top of that, I'm sorry, the Falcons and or that coach need to be punished in some form or fashion for this kid doing that. And you especially from the standpoint of like, you're gonna sit here and I'm gonna teach this 21-year-old a lesson and we're gonna drag him through the mud, but then another 21-year-old goes and does something that heinous and really fucks with somebody like that, and steal like you're perfect. Like if this is a government type thing, I guess maybe not this government, but if this was a government thing where like the data like got out, you know what I'm saying, of somebody's phone number, some shit like that, oh bro, heads would roll.
Yeah.
And so you're telling me that this defensive coordinator, because his idiot son, no, if we're going to teach lessons, let's teach all the lessons. Yeah. Fire this coach or suspend this coach. And now this kid has to deal with the fact that he fucked up his dad's shit, and let that be a lesson learned to him too. Like that's gross.
I think that's an interesting point that I haven't quite heard yet, Winston. And just to clear up a little bit, Shedeur is 23 years old.
Okay.
So, but the kid is but he's an adult, right? At 23. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like whatever is good for that adult, which is like you saying, hey, you can't act like this. You need to be on top of stuff. You need to be more professional. You have to apply the same standard, the same metrics to the 21-year-old son of Ulbrich there, of Jeff Ulbrich, who's the defensive coordinator of the Falcons. His son at 21 years old apparently came upon an open iPad while he was visiting his parents' home, and the phone number was there, visible for him to see. He wrote it down, passed it, or put it on his phone and passed it on to his friend, and they did the prank call. I think it's a horrible thing to do, because this is a kid's future. This is a kid's like livelihood that you're messing with. And yes, he can come across as cocky. He's got his dad has money. He's not going to suffer for money, but it's still a kid's future you're messing with. And for a 21-year-old kid to do that at the expense, and it was to a specific phone. It wasn't to his regular phone. Like anybody could have gotten the number. It was to a specific phone that only NFL personnel had the number to call him. That is a horrible thing that kid did. And an apology is not enough. I agree. I think there should be punishment. I think Jeff Ulbrich should absolutely be punished for leaving the iPad out open for his son to use. There are security measures around that. But Shedeur, to be honest with you, through this whole process, the kid has handled himself really well. And I think there might be some teams who might be second guessing passing on him because he didn't bitch about it. He said look, we tried, didn't work out. We built a whole draft room. Yeah, it's embarrassing, but you know what? Thank you, God, for everything you're showing me. Thank you, God, for everything you're putting me through. When the kid apologized to Shedeur, he took the kid's call. And then Shedeur said, when he was asked about it later, that, hey, we're all young. We all do dumb stuff when we're young. This is really interesting because this is a test now beyond what's going to happen in in training camp and whatever. He's already showing some maturity in these situations that other guys his age and even older maybe would have looked like the fool or said dumb shit or got pouty and acted stupid. Shedeur is rolling with all the punches, and I think that's a really positive sign for him as an NFL professional. Yeah, that
genuinely speaks to. I get that maybe he was a little brash with the way that he went through it, but so was Travis Hunter. I mean, now here's the thing. Let's be real. Travis is, in my opinion, light years ahead of Shedeur as far as just talent, as far as things go. It doesn't mean that Shedeur couldn't become that guy, but if we're just looking, if we're calling a spade, I'm also very curious because one of the things I was watching a YouTube clip of the facility, which is the Fox Sports, what Acho's on there, Shady's on there, James Jones and Chase Daniels, and they were talking about how practice works. Yeah. And so they're like, essentially, when you're dealing with the preseason and training camp, you'll get probably 16 plays. 4 plays for the first team. Then they send in the second team. Second team will probably get about 3 plays. Right. Then the third team will get like a play or 2. Yeah. And then they'll go back and get another set of plays for the first team, another set of plays for the second team, and then again a play or 2 for the third team. So you got 5 quarterbacks. Deshaun's out. We like, who knows how that's going to play out, but whatever. Deshaun's not a factor, right? Agreed. But that means that Joe Flacco gets the first team reps. Then Kenny Pickett's going to get those second team reps, and then he's got to somehow split the reps with roughly about 4 with Gabriel. Right. Which means he's not going to have a lot of opportunity to show off, on top of the fact that you're not going to be throwing to your Jerry Jeudy's and stuff like that. Right. You're throwing to the third and fourth team receivers, which means you don't have a Travis Hunter to make you look even more ridiculous. Right. So that is another thing that's going to be really, really interesting here. And this is where we get to see where the grit comes in. Yeah. But yeah, man, I would say, just as far as like the prank goes, like, you don't like, I think maybe I was a little harsh because I was just pissed. I don't think you need to fire the coach, suspend his ass for a game. Yeah. Suspend him for the first regular season game. Yeah. Yeah. Or a fine. I think a fine is more than fair. And apparently the Falcons said they're not going to do anything, but the NFL is now looking at it. So the NFL could impose a fine if they wanted to. And I look, for all the talk about Deion Sanders and the brashness and all of that, Deion is a very respected person in NFL circles. I mean, very respected person in NFL circles. So I have a feeling that, you know, he's leaning in on certain people that have the ear of Roger Goodell, maybe even calling Roger Goodell himself and saying, hey, man, this is not a good precedent to set for young men coming into the NFL, especially young black men, especially when you're making such a big deal that you want to reach out to the black community. You bring black people up on stage at the NFL draft to show that you're working with black charities and the black community. So this is not something you want to have hanging over you if in a response. So yeah, I'm sure Deion is encouraging to have a good response to this whole situation, man. Yeah. And then the last thing, because I've seen so many people, and I see a couple people in the chat being like, bro, it was a prank call. Like, what the fuck? It's not that serious. I'm like, first of all, you know, if you prank, and it's not to the same extent, but if you prank call 911, do you know that's a felony? Like, that's a felony offense.
That's a good point.
So like people need to stop living the Logan Paul, Jake Paul model of like, yeah, let's go into the suicide forest and joke about it and shit like that. Or these other pranksters that will like go into the hood and start saying the N-word to black people. And then when they get knocked out and shit, and they're like, oh, I don't understand, like blah, blah, blah. You're talking about a moment where this is the biggest moment of this kid's life, outside of probably when he gets married and has a kid. If he does if he's blessed to do either of those things, this is the biggest moment of his life. And you're doing that sort of prank. I hope that kid, that 21-year-old, I hope he wants to go to med school, and someone prank calls him and goes, bro, congratulations, you got into Harvard Med School. Psych, bitch, you're not getting in here ever. Like, you know what, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Like, it's just, we have gotten to a place that we don't actually know what humor is anymore, and we don't have any class, and it shows. It clearly shows. And so again, that was privileged, like classified to the business information to be able to contact Shedeur. Yeah. So there should be similar consequences of that kind of stuff disappearing. So again, you can do a fine. I'm saying, because he's not even the head coach, suspend the defensive coordinator for 1 regular season game, because that sends a message to that kid. A fine, unless the father's like, oh, the fine was $50K. I was paying for your college. You know that $50K for school. What the fuck does a fine do to that kid? That kid learns nothing. Right. Do something where it actually affects his father, and he will be mortified, and then he'll learn. Do actual funny pranks where it's like, boo, bitch, and you jump out and scare somebody. Like, that's a fucking prank. All right. This was just mean-spirited and shitty. So then you should understand that your shit has consequences, affect your father, and then you'll stop doing dumb shit.
I agree. I see some people going after Dion. We should address that before we leave this topic as well. Listen, Dion loves his son, and Dion wanted to play a certain, and he has controlled the ascension of his son from high school, probably from middle school to high school to the 2 colleges. And so they thought they could demand a certain price. They thought they could work the system in a certain way. And how many black men have been used up and spat out by the NFL without it, because they have no control over how they're presented. They have no control over how things go in a meeting with an NFL owner or a coach or a set of coaches. And so the fact that Dion wanted to be hands-on in the process, I do not fault a father wanting to be hands-on with their son to make sure they end up in the best situation possible. No one knows his flaws and his strengths more than his father, who has been also his head coach for 4 years in college. So you want him to go to a coach and an organization that is going to bring out the best in his son. I don't think there's one fucking thing wrong with that, because it's a very unique situation. This is not a dad off the street. This isn't Bo Bridges and fucking Jerry Maguire. This is a dad who knows the NFL, knows the coaches, has done analysis, has been in and out of those rooms, has been on Super Bowl winning teams. So he knows what's best for his son. To lump him in as another father of a draftee is so incredibly wrong in how you're analyzing the situation. Were there missteps? Yes, I think him not throwing and whatever, and maybe there was a bit of arrogance behind that. That's fine. But clearly, Shedeur's never gotten any trouble on campus in 4 years. Shedeur's never been found out for any of the stuff there's no incidences around him or questionable stuff. He's just cocky. And I'll tell you what, quarterbacks are cocky. Patrick Mahomes is cocky. Tom Brady was cocky. A lot of quarterbacks are cocky because you have to have that chip on your shoulder to succeed. And so to me, I don't fault him for any of this stuff. I think the talent was the issue, and then the way they handled the process. Perhaps there's racism involved in this. I don't know the specific, points of views of these people, but you can make the case all around that there was just a lot of stuff around this. And when you throw in the prank, it's a lot for a young man to overcome. But the fact that he's dealing with it all and responding in such a positive way, I think that speaks volumes about how Dion has raised this man to be a good man,
Yeah, I agree. And like the last thing too is that, because I'll even say, if we want to again just talk about nuance, something could not have a racist intent per se, or like a racist thought behind it, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't read or isn't coded as such. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like someone, for example, like if me and you were getting an argument, boy, you better get on my face. Like that type of situation per se. I'm not calling you a boy because I'm trying to son you or anything like that. But coming from like a white person, whether they know it or not, because of the history of trying to infantilize and treat black people as if they are children or things like that. Yeah. That may not have been your intent, but you still unfortunately did the thing. Yeah. So this may not have been the intent in this particular case of them going, these young black upstarts are getting out of control. We need to send a message. But they definitely could have been like, yo, this kid is out of control. We need to send a message. And it reads as such. You know what I'm saying? And that's the other part of it too. So I'm not going to go so far as to be like, yeah, they had this racist dream to do stuff. But I also wouldn't necessarily put it past them, knowing what we've seen out of owners in the past.
Yeah, some people are pushing back in the chat, and I do want to address this because you guys are saying, well, Tom Brady wasn't cocky until. Clearly, you guys have not watched the Apple TV series, The Franchise. I highly recommend you watch it if you want to talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady on the first practice after he was drafted, he walked up to Robert Kraft and said to him to his face, this is a 6th rounder who wasn't even drafted to start or to be a starter. He said to the team owner, Robert Kraft, who probably didn't even fucking know who Tom Brady was, he said, I'm the best decision you ever made. I'm the best draft choice you ever made. So all of you in the comments section clearly have no knowledge of this, because that shows you how cocky Tom Brady was. He wasn't cocky after he won a Super Bowl. Yes, he wasn't drafted to be the starter necessarily, but he was cocky enough to think he could be even though he's drafted in the 6th round. And he was cocky back in college because he was pissed that he had to sit behind the starter at Michigan and not start those games because he knew inside he could be an NFL great. So those are the things you need as a quarterback, is the cockiness of it all, to believe in yourself. So those of you who don't know that story, get yourself educated about that story. Tom has been cocky from the fucking beginning, and that's why he's great. That's why he became successful. One of the big reasons he became
even without seeing that documentary, I remember that quote. Like the minute you said it, I was like, the Brady did say that shit. That's like a well-known thing that he did.
Yeah.
Was to be like, I'm the best decision you ever made. Whoo, Lord.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys have to understand, this is the way it is. It's the NFL. This is a man's business. And when people believe in themselves, they want a shot at it. Shedeur's going to get his shot. We'll see what happens with Cleveland. Cleveland is known to be a trash place for quarterbacks. So I just have a feeling that Shedeur is going to find his way to at least start some of the NFL games this season and see how he does. So we will
Rocha,
see. Yeah.
Why is it that every time we came back around to a Browns pick, I was like, please don't take Shedeur. Please don't take Shedeur. Because I was like, bro, Cleveland is where you go to die as a quarterback, 1,000%. Even if you start your career, that's where you go to die. But then on the flip side, I was like, once we got to like the 3rd round, I was like, damn, Browns, can't you take Shedeur? I was like, anybody takes Shedeur now.
I was really shocked that Pittsburgh didn't, because, they had talked that whole game, and a lot of people felt that was a great place for him to go because they just have Mason Rudolph in there. But really, I think that
might be less management and more Tomlin.
Yeah.
I think there is a level of like, even if Tomlin thought that maybe the kid had something that could be worked with.
Right.
I'm not dealing with Antonio Brown again, and when his daddy is again one of the best football players, some argue the best football player of all time. They say that Brady obviously is the GOAT, and then when they talk about that, they kind of mean more in terms of like the winningest, the best quarterback, things like that. But there is a very real argument that it's a 3-way tie between Brady, Sanders, and Taylor as the 3 greatest one of those 3 are the greatest football players of all, are so revered in what they did and what they were able to accomplish. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there is something to be said about that. So anyway,
I just love this tweet from 2018 from Deion Sanders when he said, love what the Browns have done this offseason, but if I'm a young quarterback, ain't no way I'm going to Cleveland. I would pull an Eli Manning if possible. Hashtag think about that. Hashtag truth. Well, 7 years later, your young quarterback son is going to Cleveland. So we will see how that all plays out. So, it's a crazy little world, bro. You just never know.
Bro, I will tell you, the one funny part is seeing Travis when he got drafted. That dude was like a kid in the candy store. Nobody wants to go to Jacksonville, but he would clearly much rather be in Florida than be in fucking Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
And shout out to Matt Thomas if he's watching right now.
Or the Giants. I thought that was amazing. Yeah, Cleveland traded out of it, and then the Giants didn't take him in. So, he is in a good place with Jacksonville. So we will see. And, we'll see how Jackson Dart does for the Giants. We'll see how these other quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel, does for the Browns, other quarterbacks in different situations. We will see, but certainly people are going to keep monitoring. And if Shedeur and Deion are smart, they get an agent quickly. I mean, Deion's own other son, Shiloh, fired Deion and got with Drew Rosenhaus, and now he's a free agent.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, Dad, you fired. Get on my face.
I love you, Dad. But, he was like the Cuba Gooding Jr. the whole situation. Jerry showed up with Jerry O'Connell, but he left with Cuba Gooding Jr., and Deion is in the same situation. And Shiloh went with Drew Rosenhaus, and he's now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's got to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I would get an agent for Shedeur immediately. And then Shedeur should definitely tell the Cleveland Browns and all the press, don't do extra documentary on me. Don't follow me, nothing like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL was like, can we do a Hard Knocks with Cleveland? I would not be surprised if that happened.
They'll probably push. Though I feel like they just did Cleveland, so they may not.
Yeah, they did the AFC North or Central, whatever it is, with Steelers. And
Cleveland. The in season thing. Yeah,
the Hard Knocks in season. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move on to another gentleman here who is in fantastic shape and trying something new here. Winston A. Marshall, The Rock, has got himself a new sports film. The A24 trailer dropped today from director Benny Safdie. It is Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and Emily Blunt doing a sports biopic based on UFC champion here, Mark Kerr. The Rock's got a wig on. He's in some fantastic shape for this film. Did you get a chance to watch the trailer? What are your thoughts on The Rock doing this?
I did not. And I think that is very smart for him to do when you consider that the main thing that people have said is that he's let his A-list celebrity get to his head.
Yes, the ego.
That the ego has gone out of control. And when you see, even with him being the biggest movie star in the world for a while there, because he came out of wrestling, he will always be compared to other wrestlers turned actor. Right. And when you see what Batista and what Cena have been doing as of late, and not just, hey, look at the box office draw, but like acting their ass off.
Yeah.
I think there was probably a call that went in being like, hey, yo, something needs to change. Something legitimately needs to change. We need to show them that I am more than just, the action blockbuster star. You know what I mean? And I think that's a smart move, honestly.
Put a wig on me, change my face, and let me do my thing, and bring me Emily Blunt, who is co-starring as his wife or / girlfriend in this movie. And this is based on a true story. There's a documentary on HBO. If you guys want to watch the Smashing Machine true story, because he got addicted and all that. So I thought this was a good trailer. I think they hid The Rock a little bit. So I'll be curious on a second trailer if we get to see scenes where there's more exchanges between The Rock and Emily Blunt, because there was a lot of nonverbal stuff where he was acting like crying into a bed sheet, talking to a kid, talking, fighting, punching, all that stuff. But there was only a couple of scenes with him and Emily Blunt where there were verbal exchanges. So I would like to see more. That being said, I like the energy and the approach of this. My reaction to it is up on the channel, and I thought I'm curious to see if it's good. I'm hearing rumors that it's actually a parody of sports films, which confuses me. But let's see what this is all about when a fuller trailer comes out. But coming out of this trailer, I'm intrigued for sure to see what's going to happen there. All right. There's no easy way to transition this conversation. So,
oh no, what, Jesus,
what's going on with our friend Saquon Barkley? I know we've talked a little sports here, but Saquon was palling around with 100-day President Donald J. Trump recently over the weekend, and of course, quite a few members of the Philadelphia Eagles did not go to the White House to meet with President Trump to celebrate their Super Bowl victory. Jalen Hurts being one of the biggest names with A.J. Brown as well. But Saquon did. And he flew on the helicopter here. He went golfing with the president. And a lot of people came after him, including me. And he responded saying, LOL, some people are really upset because I played golf and flew to the White House with the president. Maybe I just respect the office. Not a hard concept to understand. Just golf with Obama not too long ago and look forward to finishing my round with Trump. I know you get out of my mentions with all this politics and have an amazing day. Now, some people brought up a tweet from 2020 where Saquon Barkley said the protests are amazing and inspiring, talking about the Black Lives Matter protests. But please, in 2 or 3 weeks, when the protests are no longer happening, we still need change. We need to come together as a community, and we need action. Racism and injustice cannot exist. So a lot of pundits, black pundits, a lot of pundits overall, we're throwing this tweet back in Saquon Barkley's face because he just looked to be palling around having a good time with Donald Trump. So what are your thoughts and reaction to this? What are your thoughts of Saquon's words to it? What you feeling about this entire situation? Winston, should we have left him alone, or is there a legitimate cause to call him out?
I can't believe there was ever a point in time where I was rooting for the Eagles. This is just a reminder that nothing good comes from Philadelphia.
That's Winston A. Marshall saying that. I was born in Philly. I can't say that, but Winston A. Marshall certainly.
Love you.
Your opinion.
Love you, but there are far more examples of Philly just being a dumpster fire, okay, than the few exceptions of good things that come out of it. Abbott is great. Abbott, Quinta, fantastic, great, awesome, chef's kiss. All right, but what the fuck, man? Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think one, it's very interesting that the blackety black members of the team said, I ain't going to that motherfucking White House. And did it in ways that were very just like smooth. Like Jalen being like, I had a personal appointment that happened to be scheduled on the day y'all picked for this, so I unfortunately cannot attend.
I have a
like that's a nice little side step where like I won't, because like no one's saying anything about not respecting the office. Saquon, you could have gone to the White House, would have been disappointed, but you could have gone to the White House and not golf with the motherfucker.
Right. True.
Like, the reason why a lot of the Dodgers were getting flack when they went a couple weeks ago is because they were cheesing and smiling like a bunch of assholes. Like, and the fucked up part about it too, a large number of them being Latinos, and it's like, bro, your cousin just got deported, and you're out here laughing and keying it with fucking Trump. Like, what the hell? So it's like the reason you're getting slack, the reason you're getting flack, Saquon, is not because you chose to go to the White House. You chose to go have a personal, fun moment with the president, who is very controversial and has been known for having very racist, if not direct policies or standpoints, has said enough things that are very racist or has been supported by a number of racists. So it's a very specific signal, in the same way, like you literally saw what happened when Brady Mahomes was out here talking about, hey, make America great again and shit. Come on. Miss me with that respect. You can respect the office of the president and still not go pal around. And on top of that, I will go further to say, I will start respecting the office while Trump's in it when Trump himself starts actually respecting the fucking office. Because when has he? Because when has he respected the office of the president, whether that be the previous predecessors and the way he talks about them, or things that he has done both inside and outside the office? So no, I will respect the office while he's there when he starts doing the same shit.
Look, was it Jeremy says Tiger attended the White House? Yes, he did. And Tiger is well known for being a conservative, and he's with the ex-wife of one of the Trump kids. So I mean, like, that guy is very much indoctrinated into the Trump world, you know. And here's Trump tonight. This is actually from tonight. Here is Trump tonight. Well, let me take this down. Talking about his black friends, and I want to play this for you guys so you understand what the hell we're talking about here. Let me make it big. Where is it here? Yeah. All right. So this is what he said tonight.
How the hell did that happen? There's my friend, Blacks for Trump. I like that guy. He follows me. He follows me. We love you. Your whole group has been so supportive over the years. I want to thank you.
It's all white people. I've seen the shirts.
I don't know. I don't even know who the hell he is. I just like him. True. Thank you very much. Thank all of the fellas.
Jesus Christ.
I've seen all those people in those shirts. It's white people. Like when they be Blacks for Trump, and it's the whitest people you've ever met in those shirts.
Like, it's Haley Steinfeld. Wait, what? Where are you getting it?
Hey, you leave Haley out of this, man. You leave Haley out of this. You leave her 1/8 ass out of this, bro. Do you understand that poor Josh? You should be worried about Josh Allen. My girl over here spitting in Michael B. Jordan's mouth and fake riding his ass. Hell no, bro. You worry about Bill's Mafia, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have it, go put $100 on the Bills to win the Super Bowl. You think it was bad when he heard about the movie she was doing? He won MVP. After the movie came out and everybody keeps seeing this shit, it's the biggest movie in the world for week after week. Bro, when I tell you, all of a sudden, players that aren't even supposed to make the team about to catch passes that don't make sense for touchdowns. Josh Allen about to win this bitch. He about to beat Patrick Mahomes every time he sees him. He about to embarrass Joe Burrow. Bro, he can see whoever. It could be Shannon Sharp, Jalen Hurts. Don't matter. The Bills are going to mollywop whoever they play in the Super Bowl because Josh Allen about to kill somebody.
They should just play her clip at the beginning of every Buffalo game at home.
bro.
We're gonna kill every last one of you motherfuckers. I should have just played that clear before
Bro,
every
the only other thing that I can see is he asked for a private room, and they're like, we're not gonna give you a private dressing room, but he finds a private room. He goes and he quietly just watches her spit in his mouth, and just tears just flowing before he goes out on the field. Like, oh my God. Which on the one hand, everybody that has dated an actor, like they understand, like it's our job, it's what we do. So there's a level of like, you gotta accept it. But the only thing that makes it worse is seeing the kind of chemistry in the press that Michael B. Jordan has with Haley. That like, I'm like, to the point where Michael B. Jordan is the number one person on my girls list for like the hall pass shit that people have for celebrities. I made it very clear. If I ever do a movie with Michael B. Jordan, she's not invited to the premiere. I'm not taking her, because you know what I'm not about to do? Accidentally walk my girl into Michael B. Jordan's arms. That's fucking crazy. If she meets him on her own and that shit happens and all that, and we've had whatever discussion about the list, that's fine. But I'm not going to be a member of my own demise.
You can't bring him to the set. You can't bring him to the Sinners 2 set.
She's never allowed to come to the Sinners 2 set. None of that, bro. She can't come. If somebody needs to invite her on their own accord, but I will not be the one. That's not going to happen.
Because I mean, Sinners 2 is a sequel, if it ever comes out. And you know, with the sequel, you got to plus what happened in the original. So what's the plussing of the spitting in the mouth? You don't want Kirsten around for that. So I totally respect that.
But Sinners 2, a bite of the apple. Hell no, bro. Get the fuck away from me. No. Sinners 2, original sin. No.
I'm going to fuck every last one of you. No.
Oh my God. I can't with you, bro. That's horrible. That's fucking hilarious. I'm gonna fuck every last one of you.
Oh man. All right. Let's leave the world of sports. Let's talk about this Wednesday. You know, when we started doing Spill the Tequila, we said that we wanted to be on top of some trending topics and social media conversations. And this one has popped up over the last few days. Very fascinating. You know, things just grip the world. And this started on the 24th of April, but it actually goes back to 2020 on a Reddit stream here. I want to get it right. Reddit stream, who would win subreddit was a forum home to random hypothetical questions and discussions on a variety of topics. And one of these topics that has now kind of grabbed the pop culture zeitgeist on Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, Twitter, and X, and all these places, there's a wild debate blowing up online. Can 100 unarmed men defeat a single gorilla in a fight? I dug into this with the best AI in the world. The answer is fascinating. Let's break it down step by step. So I just picked this as a random tweet to put up there because this is the thing that a lot of people are discussing now. This feels like old school Twitter, where you have that one thing and then everybody is chiming in, like the dress, Rachel Dolezal, like there's all these things that pop up and then everyone's chiming in. So people are chiming in. Can 100 men defeat one gorilla? I go back to our friend Ben, who thought he could handle a mountain lion by himself in LA.
God, bro. I forgot about that. Jesus Christ. I completely forgot about that. That was a whole thing that he claimed. I got something for you.
What do you got?
You should be able. I just put it in there to be able to present. This is what 100 men versus a gorilla would look like.
Oh, yeah, I gotta take it. I'm getting in trouble for that.
Bro, and for those that aren't familiar, that is Madara. He is like essentially the big bad from Naruto. That fight, go look it up. Go look up Madara versus the Ninja Shinobi Alliance if you haven't seen it. It is the most savage thing I think I may have seen that isn't just like people getting completely eviscerated. Because like there's obviously some very violent animes that have happened before. But specifically that moment, especially if you're someone that watched the show, and we've seen crazy fights. We have seen insane fights. And we know the level of these people that are fighting him. And we're like, we've heard about this guy, but we've never seen it. Did you ever see Kobe Bryant used to go to China and would play 100 Chinese dudes by himself and would be just dribbling through everybody and then go dunk on people?
Wow.
That's what like watching that fight was like, and that's exactly what it would be like. This gorilla taking on 100 dudes. These are unarmed. If they had any sort of weapons, we could have a different conversation. But that is the silliest shit I have ever heard. 100 men are not beating that gorilla. The sheer number of them that instantly get ripped in half or eviscerated, just a gorilla punch to the gut. Like game blouses, bro. Are they people aware that I believe even some of the smallest gorillas can lift a fucking ton? 2,000 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. So what are we talking about?
I love this. I love this tweet here from. I hope I'm saying this right. Mfu Vekwaseke. He says the first 15 will surely die in less than 30 seconds. The next 15 will be dead before the minute ends. The 15 that follow will have heavy injuries. You can only attack in waves of 15 maximum. After 2 minutes, which will be about 4 waves, the gorilla will be tired, which can give the 5th wave a chance to gorge out its eyes and break its fingers. At the end of it all, less than 30 men will survive this fight without weapons. Humans are very weak. So you probably could overwhelm the gorilla eventually, but 100 men,
100 ain't gonna do it.
Who's going to be in the first wave? Who's going to volunteer to be killed by a gorilla in the first few waves? So I don't think you'll find 60 people or 70 people who are willing to die just to prove this point. Yeah.
Rocha, I will bet all of the money that I have right now.
Okay, all right.
Call it 10 years, probably less. 10 years.
Okay. 10 years. Okay.
Gorilla versus 100. The movie is going to come out.
Oh
Rocha.
my God. Listen,
it will happen. They will find a way to write the story.
Oh,
it will happen. And it'll be ridiculous. And a lot of us will be like, who asked for this? And then we were like, the internet. This is Morbin time all over again.
It should happen already. Listen, you've got that Physical 100, that Korean reality show about everyone's in such a crazy shape. So Gorilla 100 is absolutely a possibility. I love that social media got a hold of this thing and started creating Mr. Beast. Need 100 men to test this. Any volunteers? He wanted 100 men versus a gorilla here.
Jesus
this is insane. This guy says, I've seen one drunk, not gorilla, beat up 4 y'all between my days at Wild Rides in Zydeco. I'm siding with the gorilla. This guy, me on the day we're supposed to fight the gorilla. I love this. Can I be the one that specifically picks the 100 men to fight the gorilla? When they keep sending 100 men to fight a gorilla and the male population keeps decreasing, what is going on,
dude?
So yeah, no, it's insane.
On top of the fact, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. There's obviously very real reasons that women have put forth of like why they really don't want to like F with dudes anymore.
Yeah.
This is just another proof of why women are like, I can't with y'all. Y'all are fucking stupid. Y'all are so incredibly stupid. You legitimately think the 100 y'all are gonna go with your boys and you're gonna fight a gorilla?
A gorilla.
And you said 100. If you had said something like 1,000,
yeah, maybe
sure. Then the gorilla actually will run out of strength, will run out of energy. But 100 dudes.
Yeah. Too many,
dude. I don't even remember how much a gorilla weighs, but they can lift roughly about 10 times their fucking body weight. What are we talking about? The average dude is like 180 pounds.
Yeah,
you go snap that, but you snap one of y'all in half. You're gonna look like the Hulk with Loki, just do puny god, and then throw you into but like. I do not blame women for wanting nothing to do with us at this point. If we're this dumb, if we are this dumb,
I don't disagree with you. A typical silverback gorilla, and that's who it would be. It would absolutely be a silverback, probably. Yeah, weighs 4. This is an average one. Weighs 430 pounds and stands 5 feet tall, but it can lift over 1,763 pounds of dead weight. Not dead weight, which means it's heavier. So 1,763 pounds of dead weight. I guarantee you the first wave, it'll just use the shattered bones as knives and cut through everyone else. Like it's just not even possible to make this happen. There's no way. 100 men I think they would ultimately all die from the attack. That's just my belief on this.
Just absolutely. Let alone the fact, part of the thing they have to realize, you think any of those dudes are really going to be strong enough?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
to hurt the gorilla. You would need to then get some of the best that we have, and you're talking like peak Mike Tyson. You're talking about like
The Rock,
The Rock, Myles Garrett. You're talking about people at peak levels of human strength. You think myself, Christian, Rocha, Mark Ellis, Mark Hoyt, like Ben Goddard, name all the people in the Schmodown. Kevin Smets, Dan Murrell. You think these cats are going to be able to hurt a gorilla? Come on. You
want to talk about the free-for-all? A gorilla, a gorilla with 100 Schmodown competitors. That
JTE is going to do some damage to a gorilla. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. Like, and there's no disrespect. These are my homies, but let's just be really real here. That's the average man I just mentioned. All of those people. These are the average men.
Yeah.
You didn't say 100 of our strongest men on the planet. You just said 100 dudes. So that means that's a fucking crapshoot. There are almost 8 billion people on the planet. They say roughly about 50% are male. So of the 4 billion, talking average dudes, what if you had to listen to RFK's fucking bigoted ass?
Hey.
Excuse me. All of a sudden, one autistic dude will show up, and apparently they can't play sports. Is what he said. So what are we gonna do then? Huh? Like bro.
100 of us should be able to beat the gorilla. No. I like Sean Brennan. Hey, babe, me and 99 of my friends are going to fight a gorilla. Get out of my
my God.
Get out of my house.
Oh, my God. There's a reason why the Animorphs was such a good fucking book series, and why turning into animals was such an incredible super. There's a reason why Beast Boy.
Yes.
In theory, you think that he doesn't seem like that strong of a kid. Bro, him turning into a tiger, him turning into a gorilla, him turning into a T-Rex, that's a problem, because a gorilla will murder you.
Yeah.
Okay?
100%.
Murder you.
Not even
Gorilla Grodd is terrifying for a reason, because the nigga got mind powers. He got mind powers and he's a gorilla. Come on.
Oh, Gorilla Grodd. No thanks. No thanks.
That is probably the scariest member of the Legion of Doom outside of, say, a Brainiac, is 100%. Genuinely Gorilla Grodd.
100%. He can outthink you and then rip your arms off. Like, what are you talking?
He can outthink you, mind control you, and throw you around like a rag doll. No, thank you. Because at least with Bizarro, you just got to tell him some backward shit, and he'll be like, "Oh, Bizarro, Bizarro, come now!" And then he flies off because he thinks he needed to leave.
Exactly. All right. Well, we should. We're running out of time, because I know this is only a 90-minute show, so we got to get to these questions here, Winston. There was other topics, but we got to push them aside now and get into this stuff here. Cowboys fan 92 says, "Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Hope it's going well. I'm great. I'm still losing my mind from watching the re-release of The Revenge of the Sith, having seen it as a teen when it first came out in 2005. I have not gone back to see the re-release. I don't know. I'm not a big prequels guy, but maybe I'll go back.
Revenge of the Sith, though, is very good,
right? Yeah.
Of all of the it is in my opinion, of the main 9. It is arguably the best Star Wars film made since the original trilogy ended.
Wow.
So of the 6 other the 5 other movies, right, it's the king of that. And you could make the argument that it could maybe even I'm going kind of crazy here, but you could maybe even usurp one of those other original trilogy films potentially, because the themes are there, the fights are fantastic. Obviously, it's more updated graphics because of when it's happening and things like that. Right. There's a lot to be said about the stuff that happens in that film, and it's crazy.
Yeah. That fight on Mustafar alone, man.
Absolutely.
Cowboys fan Andrew says, "Can we all take a moment to notice the madness that is the fact that Sith currently sits in second place at the box office, just under Sinners?" Yeah, 25.2 million for that re-release, which is the second highest opening weekend for any re-release ever in the history of movies. So it's pretty amazing. That's pretty
nuts,
amazing,
man. That's nuts.
J&B said, this is the place to talk about Jeff's take. I keyed. Oh, no. We talked about Jeff's take. Y'all know where I stand on it. We don't want to get into it.
I don't even know what happened.
Oh, well, Jeff and I had a battle on Hot Mic last week about Sinners for 30 minutes. And and Jeff said that Jeff implied or flat out said that he thought that critics of color and black critics and even white critics gave Sinners a pass because they didn't want to say anything negative about a black film or a black-led film or a film about blackness. And I had to push back, and we just went back and forth on that because I was like, I think that's not true. And that's like me saying you whenever you like a Jewish film, you only like it because you're a Jewish guy. So it was just a big battle back and forth. So
it's not to say that there aren't people that can be blinded, but that is, in my opinion, we don't have to get into it, but that is a terrible take. Especially because of how good this film is
and how it's being received by the regular fans who are going to see it. Right? Like,
right.
Exactly. Great point. Yeah. Sean McCabe says, Rocha, grow your beard. Oh, I wish I could. I can't even grow a mustache, for God's sake.
Really?
Yeah, no. I look terrible.
I didn't know that.
No, I look like a sexual predator in a mustache. Nobody wants to see that. Trust me on that. If I still have my driver's license from the early 2000s, I just look like I have a white man. JMB says, congrats on the roll, Winston. Tequila for life.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Shout out.
Yes, sir.
Matt Sanders McCall says, if you could fight a social media influencer, who would it be and why? Also, is it true, Rocha? Pete Hexat sent you a super chat with his military plan. Yeah, he did. And then Trump butt-dialed me with all of that stuff, too. A social media, I would never want to fight a social media influencer because you can't win. Even if you beat them, they're going to use it for content. So why would you ever fight a social media influencer, right?
Damn, that's crazy, man. Yeah, they've. I don't know. I don't have one, especially because so many of them decided to get into amateur boxing or become actual professional boxers. I'm good. I don't want to do that.
I don't be messing with a Paul brothers. No way.
I'll play them in dodgeball. I'll whoop all the asses. I don't give a damn about that. I'll do that.
That's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, literally.
1/6 scale man says, Rocha, thank you for not just being the host of an incredible podcast and show, but just a great human being. Bless you both. Oh, well, that's very kind.
Thank you. Thank you. Bless you as well.
Yes. Fantastic 314. Dallas was perfect for Shedeur. Dak is constantly having season-ending injuries. The young bull could have pushed Dak to be better, and a legacy player could have come home and jersey sales would have killed. That's a great point.
I thought I was pretty sure that he was going to go in the third, that Jerry was like, all right, I did 2 good picks. Can I have Shedeur now? Like, I was so sure he was going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think truthfully, he was never probably going to go to Dallas for the reason that he didn't hire Dion because he still has an ego on him that he doesn't. He wants things to go his way. If Shedeur ends up in Dallas, then that means that Dion's going to have some sort of like say, or he'll be around to kind of do stuff. And unless we get to a place where Jerry's going to let that go, I just didn't necessarily see that happening.
Yeah. That's a good point. Tim Sim says, hope you two are doing well. About to finally see Sinners this Thursday. Sadly, can't do the 2 to 3 hour drive to San Antonio for 70mm IMAX before seeing Thunderbolts this weekend. What should I expect going into this film? Going into Sinners?
Yeah. I'll warn you that the only real scary part, Tim, is the very beginning. There is some jump scare flashbacks as you open the film. So now you know that those are there, so you won't shit your pants. They're not crazy scary, but it's the only moments that were like, Jesus, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, other than that, like, it's not that scary. And then just enjoy the ride, enjoy the music. There is a point in about midway through the film, musically, that happens that you will be transported. I don't know if you're the type, because I don't think it's legal in Texas, but I don't know if you're the type to smoke some weed, but bro, just that scene, my Lord, it is so good.
The views of Winston A. Marshall on drug use. And I would say this, regardless of all the hype you've heard and all the things people tell you that are in the movie, just watch the movie and enjoy it. And if you catch stuff, you catch stuff. because I have a feeling it's a film you're going to watch multiple times to want to catch all the other stuff, Tim. So just enjoy the film as it is. That's what I would say, because it's a damn good film. Even if you don't catch any of the meaning or symbolism, it's a damn good film just on its surface. So you're going to enjoy it, hopefully. Fred Tastic 314 says, more sports talk. Welcome to Game Time with the Outlaw Winston A. Marshall. No. This is a different show. Matt Sister McCall says, Harambe, the movie, resurrection revenge thriller. Oh my God, that would be great. Harambe coming back. Wiley Todd says,
movie.
Thoughts on the Thunder in the playoffs? OKC Thunder. Yeah, they look good, Winston. They look good. They sweat.
I haven't been paying attention to them because I think I'm more like, what is happening with the Lakers? Like, good Lord, bro. Jesus Christ, it's so bad.
Over, man.
Unless LeBron's about to do his second 3-1 comeback, it's over, bro.
LeBron ain't got the players to do the 3-1 comeback like he did when he was doing it. But
him and Luka alone ain't enough to do it, man.
Yeah. Look, the Thunder have looked good, but they also played a weak Memphis team that didn't have Ja Morant and didn't have a couple of their players and fired their coach 10 games before the end of the season. So you did not have a strong Memphis team that you're playing. The next round is going to be real interesting to see how they do. And look at the Rockets getting smoked by the veteran Warriors, man. I mean, the Rockets, I think, are the number 2 seed, and the Warriors are up 3-1.
7 seed. Yes, they are.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
The Warriors are the 7 seed, and they're smoking that 2 seed, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Cavs blew through the Heat with no Jimmy buckets. Indy looks like they're probably going to close out the Bucks, which is crazy, man, because if Dame really had been able to go the whole like, has he started playing yet? Because I haven't really been following that series.
Gone. Dame's he tore his Achilles. He's gone.
He's gone. Oh, bro.
Next season as well. Like, he's out for the next year. So,
dude, that's awful. Yeah, that is so sad.
If I was Giannis, this is the time I would go in this offseason. I would go if I could right now.
Look, man, go join the Lakers. Make another big 3 for LeBron. Go Giannis, Luka, LeBron. That's the craziest big 3 I've maybe ever heard of.
Holy God.
And then they'll never lose. I don't like if you get Giannis on that team, that's game blouses, bro.
Wow. I mean, Dallas might be looking for something.
I don't even want nice things for Dallas anymore. I'm so mad. I'm still
Nico is the GM. Right?
As long as Nico is there, and I'm damn near ready to say the owners as well. But as long as Nico is there, I don't want nice. I am, you know me, I am so petty.
Yes.
And I need people to learn petty lessons. Like, so I have said multiple times whenever I see these videos of like MAGA folk being like, what's happening? I'm going to lose my farm. I'm like, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Oh, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. You need to learn a petty lesson because we're all suffering and you did this. So same thing with Nico. I don't want anything nice to happen to the Mavericks until he's gone. I need him to learn that lesson. I didn't know that Dallas liked him that much. Just I can't say the thing I want to say because I don't want to put that in the stratosphere, but F you, dog. F you forever. Go stub your toe for the rest of your life.
Oh, wow. Julius Wise says, weird that 3/5 of Dallas's O-line is named Tyler.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Okay. I've got ESPN open. Let me take a look because that's kind of crazy.
And Julius also says Ant will be my favorite player if they beat the Lakers. I mean, he's giving LeBron the business. So maybe. I mean, that back and forth they had throwing each other around the court the other day. That was insane.
Yeah. Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, and Tyler Booker. Wow.
All right, we got 5 Streamlabs. Let's roll through these. Winston, Sean Brennan said, Sean Brennan, good to see you, Sean. Thanks for the comment earlier. He said, Shedeur was the big story, but was there a team that impressed you the most with their draft? Commanders and Eagles. Sorry, Winston and Jonte stood out to me. Jonte going to the Raiders. Love to hear your thoughts. Love you guys. I think the Giants did some nice moves that unsettle me on their defense, to be honest with you. But I think everybody had a really good draft. I had a good to great draft across the board. I didn't see anybody crap the bed, even the Cleveland Browns, because if that Shedeur thing works out, then they'll have
got to steal. Then you got to, if you got Shedeur in the 5th and Shedeur actually ends up being the player that he believes that he is, then that's a steal.
Yeah.
In the 5th.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say probably the Giants sadly had the best draft from what I've kind of feeling coming off this whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man.
It's a very interesting situation. So I would say that the Giants did a nice job, which is to me scary as hell, to be honest with you.
I'm curious what some of the professionals said about it as far as like the overall grades.
Well, the Patriots came in pretty high on most of the boards. Like a lot of people thought the Patriots did a really great job. So shout out
what the Cardinals, the Ravens, the Cardinals had an A-, the Ravens had an A.
Yeah.
The Bills only got a B+.
Right.
Panthers a B-, Bears a B+, Bengals B-, B+ for the Browns. Cowboys got an A-. And I mean, the more I look at it, I mean, what linemen to try and help go with the loss of Martin, an edge rusher, a corner, a running back, another linebacker because you need to stop the run, another O lineman, somebody else on the line, another running back. Like they really focused in on, for once, the holes.
Yeah,
I am actually very impressed by that. I didn't see all of our stuff, but that's very impressive.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Oh, where's Washington? What was the Washington grade? Let me just
probably about a B. I would say.
See what they gave y'all. They gave you a B. They gave you a B.
Yeah. So we didn't draft anybody, insane. It was pretty standard draft, pretty safe draft. So, I'm cool with it.
If you're going to throw draft mixed with free agency, I think you guys won the offseason, if I'm going to be honest with you.
That's true. Yeah.
The fact that you short up Marshawn Lattimore at the end of last season, and he's a solid part of the team now. You went and got Debo. If Debo has anything left in the tank to give as an opposite to Scary Terry for Jaden, who already did it with only one premier receiver. Oh my God.
Yeah. We'll see. The NFC East is could be quite crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Quadface says, did Kevin Gates ruin the Lakers' shot at winning? And have you heard from Jeff? And you heard from Jeff. I don't know who Kevin Gates is.
Rapper.
Oh, okay. Did he? Was he cocky in his rap or something? I don't know.
I don't know if he said anything about Lakers. The only thing I heard is that maybe the reason why the Lakers are probably doing bad right now is because they're just jinxed by the nature of Shannon is going through it right now. He's always like, black tie, red tie, eagle eye, Lakers in 5. Like that's yes, Lakers will be out in 5 games is essentially what this is coming down to.
Yeah.
Lakers in 5 to go home. That's pretty much what's going on right now. So
Fantastic 314 says, I believe the DC for Atlanta the defensive coordinator for Atlanta should be fired for negligence, and his son should feel the embarrassment, because if they don't, then it shows bias with the NFL that one person can show immaturity and be punished for it and not the other privileged kid. Also, did you see the Browns' war room after they drafted Shedeur? It looked like they were forced to draft someone they didn't want to. It was ridiculous and dirty. Yeah, a lot of people speculated that it was an owner decision and not a team decision to get Shedeur, and the owner is good friends with Trump, and Trump had tweeted out that it was ridiculous. Shedeur had kept falling through the rounds, but that's all conspiracy theory stuff. Who really knows what went on behind the scenes? But yeah, I mean, it should be equal punishment, I would think, for these young men, right? To teach them, as we said earlier. So,
I think firing is kind of overdoing it just for a prank call. If it had been something more serious, but I'm serious. Suspend him for a game.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, coaches are similar to players where a suspension is a loss of a paycheck.
Yeah.
So there's your fine. Suspend him for a game. It also then punishes the team, and now that kid has to deal with the fact that he again affected his father's job.
Yep.
You gonna learn today. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're gonna learn today. Doug Developer, what's up, Doug? He says MJ never lost 3 in a row in the 90s, never lost when he had home court advantage. He scored the most points in every playoff series. He said he must take the last shot and called himself Black Jesus. His cockiness had no bounds. It was well-deserved. My favorite MJ story is when he met his college roommate, and when he was told that his roommate was player of the year, MJ immediately responded, but he never played against me yet. Had to bring that up. My GOAT. Yeah, and he never went scoreless in the fourth quarter of a playoff game like LeBron did the other night against the Timberwolves. So,
scoreless.
Yeah, he went scoreless in the fourth quarter.
Oh,
critical fourth quarter in the back and forth with T-Wolves.
I didn't know that. That's no good.
Even passed up the last shot when he was open for a three-pointer. He passed it to another player to take the shot. So, not a good look. Not a look good. I don't think LeBron's a goat at all. All right.
Hey,
I don't.
That's your damn mind.
It's Jordan. It's always going to be Jordan. Wiley Tossett. Rocha, I haven't heard your thoughts on the Christian faith in sinners. I love how it shows even bad people take the teaching for bad reasons. I got to be honest with you, Wiley, I can't really speak on it because I didn't really catch that the first time I saw it. I have not seen it a second time. I'm going tomorrow. But I know there is a commentary on how even the church sometimes can not be the most positive thing for the Black community. That's what a lot of people were speculating from some of the stuff that's in the movie. So, yeah,
there was definitely a lot of that there. I think one of the things that was very interesting was the fact that you had a number of Black Christians immediately say, "Don't watch that movie. That movie's the devil. Is this, that, and the other." But like, let's be real about what we saw.
Yeah.
There is no world in which a good father sees their son come in covered in blood, beat up, and instead they use it as part of their sermon.
Yes.
That you don't stop what you're doing and check on your son. That was an intentional choice that Ryan put in the movie, and that is to speak on the idea that some of the biggest potential grifters out there, as far as it goes, will lose their humanity to focus on their grift. And that's ultimately what was happening at that time. So I think there was some commentary there about that. And there was commentary about the fact that Black people have lost connection to our ancestors. The fact that like Annie, the whole idea of like voodoo and all that kind of stuff, it's gotten whatever said bad rap because that was a lot of the stuff that Black folk believed in, whether it be when they were in the Caribbean or stuff tied to back in Africa. And it wasn't even anything other than her just having a different way to express her spirituality, and it was demonized. You know what I'm saying? But it was one of the few things that actually saved them in the movie. So
it's a great point. Yeah. Kyle Wilson says, just saw Sinners past weekend and loved it. Do you all think the Black community is eager for everyone else to see this movie? I want everyone to see it.
I do. Yeah. I would love for everyone to see this movie. I think it is a very, very good movie, and it further proves the point when people love to be like, well, I don't watch, Black shit. How can I relate to that? I don't watch Latino shit. How can I relate? I don't watch gay shit. How do I relate to that? This is a movie that is a very good movie, and anybody can relate to it. And you can relate to the idea of fighting for your family and what that feels like, or feeling that you don't have control over your life and what that feels like, trying to be part of community, what that feels like, how music moves us, what spirituality does to you. We can relate to all of those things. So very much everyone should see this movie.
Yeah, there's a universe. This is what great films do. They tell a specific story from a specific culture, but the universality of a lot of what's in the film applies no matter what culture you're from or ethnicity you're from. And I think that's an important element to Sinners as well. All right, on that super chat, we should wrap things up. We're at the 90-minute mark. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us for this second episode back for the return of Spill the Teaquila here consistently 4 p.m. PT on Tuesdays here on the Outlaw Nation channel, barring, castings or whatever. But this is very much the home and the time for this show. So put it on your calendars going forward. Another great show with you, Winston. Hey, please let people know where they can find you, what you got going on, any new projects they can see you in, brother.
Yeah. As I can say more about the project, I will. But other than that, you can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all platforms. I'll be on Capes and Cows this Friday, so you can check me out over there. That's over on the Christian Harloff channel. But tonight I've got to help somebody with an audition, and I've got to hit the gym, but I will be streaming this evening. So if you want to come hang out ask some questions, like kick it, all that stuff. We will be doing the damn thing. Twitch.tv/theswaggyblurred.
Bang, bang. All right. Go follow him there. Go watch him there. All the stuff he's got going on there. Thank you. Always great to see you, Winston. As for me, at the Rocha says, thanks, brother. At the Rocha says, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. Come and follow me on all of that stuff. And please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell button. Let us know your comments on all the things we talked about here, and let us know what things you'd like us to talk about in the future. Maybe a subject you suggest will be an evergreen topic that Winston and I can discuss on a future episode of Spill the Teaquila. This is an interactive show, so we love to hear from you guys as well and have some fun talking topics that you want to hear our 2 cents on. All right, thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of Spill the Teaquila. Peace. Until then.